The YMCA education series is free and open to the public, so we encourage you to spread the word and invite your friends and family members. We host approximately 8 to 10 of these presentations each month, varying in all different topics. This program will last about 1 hour, and you might find that you have questions during the presentation, which we will be happy to address at the end of the program. When you have a question for the speaker, simply type it into the chat section on your screen, and I will relay the questions to the speaker. You may also raise your hand and ask a question yourself if the chat button is not working for you. I ask that you please keep your questions general, and we will do our very best to address them in the time allotted this evening. Thank you again for joining us this evening, and I would now like to introduce Ifaat Boose from Bottom Line Financial, here to talk to you about the ABCs of online banking. Just a reminder to hide your video during the presentation if you would not like to be recorded. Thank you. Turn it over to you, Ifaat.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate the introduction, and thank you again for having me here. As Heidi said, my name is Ifaat Boose, and my firm is Bottom Line Financial. I am a CPA that specializes in a different space. I am a daily money manager, and my firm assists individuals in finding solutions to their day-to-day financial challenges. And over the course of the years, I have been privileged to work with individuals and view how they banked. And it really made me pause to reflect on how can I make them more efficient? How can I save them time, save them money? And so really what I wanted to accomplish today was ask the question, why should we even consider online banking? You might be banking and it's perfectly fine the way you're doing it right now, but really, why should we even consider it? And then I want to take a deeper dive into some of the features that really make online banking very powerful and learn how to use them. And we're going to look at 4 different chapters, if you'll allow me to call them chapters. And the first one is, how do we set up a payee or somebody that we want to pay? How do we then pay those payees or pay bills online will be the second chapter. The third chapter is, how do we transfer money between accounts? And the fourth chapter is, how do we deposit checks? And after each one of these individual chapters, we are going to look at a demonstration website, because, I could talk about how to do these things until I'm blue in the face, but it's really the demonstration website that will bring it to life, that will help us understand how do we actually navigate online banking. And quite frankly, the screens that we're going to talk about before the demonstration, they're not all that really interesting, but it's the demonstration that will really give you a feel for how to do it. So at the end of the presentation, we'll also look at a couple snippet videos of each one of these, most of these chapters, which will reinforce what we've learned. So I want to mention that the platform that we're going to be using is the Chase platform, the demonstration website, and some of the screens, because Chase is widely used. A lot of my clients use it. You yourself might also be banking with Chase. So we're going to use that as our platform. The assumption that we're going to make is that you have a bank account and that you have an online account. In other words, you have a username and password so that you could log on to your bank's website. And then finally, what I want to mention is that the functionality that we're going to learn about, it's applicable to both your computer and your phone, with the exception of depositing checks. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But what we're going to learn, you could do both on your laptop or your desktop, as well as your mobile device. A couple words about security. When you choose a bank, it's important that you choose an institution that uses industry standard security. It's very, very, very important not to do your online banking using public Wi-Fi. You just simply don't know who is looking in. And what I would recommend is when you do online banking, you do it from your home network. Make sure that your antivirus software is current. Change your passwords regularly. And when you sign up for online banking, ask for text alerts to make sure you can see any unusual activity. So why the heck should we use online banking? Well, first of all, it has so many awesome features, so many robust features. And we've talked about some of them briefly, but we're going to take a deeper dive into them shortly. But it's really a powerful tool. And number one, it saves a lot of time. You are not going to have to go as frequently to your bank, and you're not going to have to wait in line as much as you used to have to in order just to deposit a check or to pay a bill or to make any transfers between accounts. So it's going to save you a tremendous amount of time. And in addition to saving time, it keeps you informed, and you can look at your accounts at any time of the day and night. You don't have to wait for a statement to come in. If you lose a statement, you can hop on onto your bank's website, log in, and get your statement from your account. And I can tell you that Chase makes available 7 years worth of statements for their bankers, for the people who bank with them. So if you lose a statement, you can just get on your website and your account and get it from your account. So in addition to saving time, in addition to keeping you informed, online banking can also save you money because you can instruct your bank when to pay a bill. And so you're going to save money on checks, you're going to save money on supplies like envelopes, and you're going to save money on postage. So let's move into our first chapter on setting up a payee or a biller. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sign on to our account. We're going to put in our username, our password, and we're going to jump onto our bank's website. And as you can see, the arrows point to different areas of the website that you can navigate to. You can go to your account, you can go to pay and transfer, and that's in fact what we're going to do. We will go to the pay and transfer tab of the website. As you see at the very top, it says pay and transfer. From there, we're going to have a drop-down menu, which shows that you can pay bills. I'm going to choose that. It's going to bring us to another set of tabs at the very top, and we're going to choose Manage Payees. And that's where we're going to be able to set up a new payee. And there are a couple ways to do that. At the left, you see that arrow. It says Add a Payee. We're going to click on that. And it's going to bring us to a new screen. The two choices that Chase gives you is you can search for a payee that Chase already set up for you, so you don't have to put in so much information. If your payee is not in that little box that you search, then underneath you can click on the link to add them. The better screen is here to see that a little bit more clearly. On the right-hand side, there's a box that you could search for your payee. And if you don't find them by searching in the box, you can add them by clicking on the link, add them. So let me say that if you choose the link to add them manually, a screen will pop up. You'll put the name in, you'll put the address and the account number if you have one. You'll click next, and that will allow you to add a payee. For this example, we're going to choose the box to search for our payees. And that's, again, the box. We're going to type in Chase in the box, and it's going to bring down all sorts of Chase vendors. We're going to choose Chase Auto. And then the bank will ask you for the zip code because there might be several locations. You'll also add your account number a little bit down below. And then that blue box, you hit next, and you've added a payee. Okay, so let's take a look at, see how that's really done, okay? So we're gonna click on the demonstration link, and it's gonna bring us to a website. This is Chase's website. It's a demonstration website. It's a real website, but it doesn't have real dollars in it. So it's gonna limit us and parts of the website where we would like to ultimately work with dollars, but that's okay because it will still allow us to experience how to do what we want to do without finally clicking on the dollars. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and add a payee. So we're going to hit pay and transfer. We're going to go to the payment center. That's a little bit different because this is actually Chase for Business, but the functionality is the same here down below. And your bank might be different also, but the point is we want to add the recipient. And this brings us to the screen that we saw a minute ago. We could either search for our payee in this box, or we could add them down below by clicking on this link. So if I clicked on this box, you could search for payees, or you could add them manually, like down below by clicking on the link. Let's go ahead and add them manually. So we're going to put in our payee's name. Let's call it Bottom Line. Oops, Bottom Line Financial. We're not going to put a nickname, but we'll put the address of 123 Northbrook Way. And we're going to choose the town of Northbrook. And we're going to choose Illinois. And we'll put in our account number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to confirm our account number. If you don't have an account number, you just check the box off over there. And because I want to add this, I would hit next, but because it's a demonstration website, I am not ultimately able to add it, but that's the process of adding a payee. Once that payee is set up, you'll find them on the left-hand side. It's the same for if you're using an individual's website. This I said is business, but it's the same for individual as it is with business. You could choose your payee over here if you want to pay them. You could also search for them in this search box. The powerful part about online banking is there are also various ways of getting things done. And sometimes one way works better for somebody than they could choose whichever way is easier for them. So that's adding a payee. And before we move on to the next chapter, I want to ask if anybody has any questions.
So I just put in the chat, do you need to know your payee's router number to get the money to transfer?
You do not.
Or their banking account? Nothing?
So when you set up a payee, the bank requires the address because they're going to write a check, and they're going to send a check to the payee. It's not going to be electronic. In this case, this is setting up a check to be sent to your payee. The next section is paying bills. And again, you're going to log on to your website with a username and password. And when you sign on, as I told you before, there are different ways that you get, different places that you can navigate to. At the top, it shows you the different tabs. We are going to choose pay and transfers. You could see it's underlined here. And then we're going to select pay bills in the drop-down menu over here. We've seen how to pay. We've seen how to set up a bill. So now we're going to pay them. And as I mentioned to you earlier in the demonstration, you could either search for it, and you could see in this, there's a search box down here below by this blue arrow on the left. You could search for your payee down below, or you could find them right underneath in a list, as we saw earlier in the demonstration. So you could either search in the box or choose your payee from this list. To choose it, to select it, you could put a check mark in this box, and then you would click on pay over here on the right. after you hit pay, it's going to bring up a screen that looks like this. And I'll just tell you briefly before I run through it. It's going to ask you what account you want to make a payment from and ask you dates that you want to send it on or have it delivered by. It's also going to ask you for dollar amounts. So over here, this is the box that you would select the account that you want to pay from. When you click on this little caret here, it'll bring down a drop box and you could select whichever one of your accounts you want to use. In this box, you would tell the bank when to send it. In this box, you would tell the bank when to deliver it. The box down below will allow you to add the amount. And then next to that box over here, you can write a memo. Your payee will not see this memo. It's just to inform you what it was for. And then you could hit pay this bill. They'll give you an opportunity to make sure everything looks okay. Is this the vendor you want to pay, the payee you want to pay? Is the dollar amount correct? If it is, you'll hit pay it. And you've scheduled a payment. So let's take a look at how that's really done. Again, this is the Chase website. We're going to hit pay and transfer. We're going to go to the payment center and we're going to pay multiple bills. And as I told you before, you could look for your payee in this box, or you could choose to pay one of your payees from the list. And we're just going to choose one of these payees, American Electric. Now this demonstration website sometimes is finicky, so it's going to ask me to do it again, which is fine. Pay and transfer, payment center, pay multiple bills. And here we are. So we're going to pay American Electric Power, and we're going to choose one of these. Let's choose Yale Checking. We're going to pay from that. We want to pay it not on June 7th, 2019, but we want to pay it since it's almost May. Let's say May 3rd. We want it delivered on, this is the delivery box. Let's say May 13th. Let's choose an amount. We could just pick that $15, or we could just type it in. And let's call it May payment is our memo. And this, now I don't know if you could see this blue box, but our pictures are hiding it, but this is the next box right here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to have an opportunity to make sure everything looks okay. So we want to use Yale Checking. We're going to pay $10. And I'm going to click on this blue box. And this tells us that we've scheduled a payment to American Electric. That is how, this is a check that's going to, Julie, this is a check that's going to go to them. And I also want to show you that with this website, you can go to your accounts and you can set up an auto pay very easily for a credit card payment. And I want to show you how that's done for this bank in particular. So if I click on this tab, remember, these are the tabs that allow you to do different things. If I'm going to go to the account tab, it's going to bring all of my accounts, and I want to go to the credit card section. And that is over here. I'm going to choose business card. And what I want to show you is that when I clicked on business card, it brings up everything about my business card on this side. It's what I call my dashboard for this business credit card. And if I scoot down to a little bit to this section where it says automatic payment is off, I can turn auto pay on by clicking on this setup tab. And when I do that, it will allow me to turn auto pay on. And it's as simple as that. Again, it's a demonstration. So as you can see up here, it says you're viewing a demo. So it won't actually let me turn auto pay on, but I wanted to show you that how easy it could be if you wanted to turn auto pay on. So that is paying a bill.
Quick question. There is a date for you to send it and a date for you to have it delivered. What's the difference? Wouldn't that be the same thing?
No, not necessarily. And let's go back. The date that you want the bank to write the check. By the way, different banks have different stipulations on when they will actually write the check. Sometimes they charge you money to write the check today versus 2 days from now. Let's say you wanted to send the check. Let's get back there. Let's see. And transfer, center. If I want the bank to send it today or tomorrow, because I'm running a little late on paying my bill, I would have them send the check today, right, on the 29th. But the day that you send the check, it's a physical, it will be a check that's going to be mailed, is going to be different than the day the payee receives it.
Because it's a mail check and not electronic.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, that's a great question though. There are you can also do electronic transfers. And actually we're gonna talk about transfers between accounts, but there are other electronic options, which we aren't actually going to get into today, but there are options to send things electronically. And that's another very powerful aspect of online banking. But this is a physical check that's going to be sent.
Got it.
So the next section is transferring money between accounts. So if you have a checking account and a savings account and you want to send money back and forth, you can do that on a one-time basis, or you can set it up to be reoccurring. So if you know that you want to transfer $5,000 between your savings account to your checking account every month, you can set that up as a recurring payment or transfer, I should say. So you could set up a one-time or repeating transfer. Again, you want to sign into your account. You would choose pay and transfer at the top. It brings down a drop-down menu and you could transfer money between accounts. So you choose transfer money. So what's going to happen here, I will just give you a heads up that the basic idea is that you're going to choose which account you want to transfer from. You're going to choose which account you're going to want to transfer to. You're going to choose the dollar amount and the date. So the first screen shows you over here the box where you're going to choose which account you are going to make a payment from. And it's going to bring down a drop down and you could choose checking or savings. The next box is going to show you which account you want to transfer money to, and it's going to bring a drop down and you could choose the account that you want the money to go to. The third box is going to allow you to write the dollar amount. The fourth box is going to indicate what date you want the transfer between accounts to occur. And then the last box is going to allow you to write a memo to remind you what it was for. You're going to press next after you've filled in all those boxes. It's going to allow you to make sure everything is okay. And then you hit transfer money and you're done. So let's see how that's done.
Just to clarify, you're transferring from one of your own accounts to another one of your own accounts.
That's correct. That's so like if you have a savings account and a checking account, let's say you have too much money deposited in your checking account, you want to send some to savings, you can do that. Or if you need money from your savings account every month to go into your checking because you have expenses, you could do that.
Okay.
So let's pop on there. And we are going to go to pay and transfer. And here's where we choose transfer money. So before I even get started, I'm going to show you how to do a one-time transfer. And then I'm also going to show you how to transfer repeating transfers. And it's simple to do just by clicking on this button. But let's first just see how it's done for a one-time transfer. So here we're going to choose an account. Let's choose our Yale checking. We're going to transfer money from our Yale checking, and we're going to transfer it to our Yale savings account. And we're going to choose $100 every month to go from our checking to savings. And this is where we're going to choose the date. Let's do it today. We're going to make our transfer today, and let's call this monthly transfer. Whoops, transfer. And I'm going to see if this little blue box is the box. I don't know if you could see it because from my screen, okay, I see our faces, but I'm going to click that. It's going to give us an opportunity to make sure everything is okay. So we're going from checking to savings in the amount of $100, and we're going to transfer money, and we are done. So I also want to show you how this is done for multiple recurring transfers. So let's go back here. Oops, let's just start this again. Payment center. Oops, I don't want that. Let's do transfer money. Okay, so we're going to choose. So here we are at the transfer screen. And instead of doing just a one-time transfer, I want to show you how we can transfer repeating amounts each month. So we're going to choose our account. Again, we're going to choose checking. And we know we want to transfer $100 every month to savings. So we're going to choose our savings account. And we're going to choose $100. Now we're going to turn on our repeating transfer button. This will allow us to make our choices on how often we want to do it. So our frequency is monthly, but we could also choose every 2 weeks or whatever frequency we want, but we'll do it once a month. We're going to have it transferred on the 1st of every month, but we could always choose any other day of the month, as you can see. Let's just stick with the 1st. And when do we want it to start? We could choose May 1st, but this is a demonstration website, so apparently it's not going to let me choose that. We could choose no ending date, or we could choose the number of transfers we want, and we would put that in the box, but let's just choose no ending date. And let's hit next. It's going to allow us to make sure everything looks okay. We're transferring from Yale checking to savings, $100 a month. We're going to do it every month. So the frequency is monthly with no ending date. And then it shows you up to your first 6 transfers. And I'm going to hit set up repeating. And we have set up our repeating transfers. So that is that. Does anybody want to take a look at that again, or have any questions about that? Okay. So our last chapter is depositing checks. And as I mentioned earlier, this is done on a mobile device. I have seen deposits done on a desktop using a scanner, but I've only seen that for businesses. And there's a contract, I believe, that has to be signed, and I think there's actually a monthly fee for it. So individuals deposit checks on their mobile device. And with Chase, it looks like this. You'll sign into your mobile app, and in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that there over here is a menu. And if you click on that menu, it's going to bring a drop-down selection, and we're going to choose deposit checks. Once you click on deposit checks, if you have more than one account, you'll choose the account that you want, where you want the money to be deposited to. If you only have one account on it, then you don't have to make the selection. And I'm going to first tell you what the approach is, and then we'll walk through it. There are basically three things that you have to do to deposit a check. The first one is you're going to enter the dollar amount, and then you're going to take a picture of the front and back of the checks, and then you can deposit it. It's really those three steps that we're going to take a look at. So first, in this section of the deposit screen, you're going to type in the dollar amount using your phone. Once you've done that, you're going to click on the front picture, and it will allow you to make a decision if you want the bank to take the picture of your check or if you want to manually take it. And the screen looks like this. Your bank will ask you, do you want a manual capture, which means you'll take it yourself, or do you want the bank to take it, auto capture? Both are fine. Neither one is, whatever works better for you. Once you've made the decision, you're going to align the front of your check in the frame, and either you'll take the picture of the check yourself, or the bank will automatically capture it. So the front will be taken a picture of, and then you do the same thing for the back, but you have to make sure you endorse your check and write for electronic deposit only. And then when you hit the back, there's the picture of the back. The bank will automatically take the picture, or you could snap it yourself. You'll have an opportunity. This is what it looks like after the pictures have been taken. So you've put the dollar amount in here, you've taken a picture of the front and of the back, and if everything looks good, then you can hit deposit down here, and the bank will ask you to make sure everything looks okay, and you say yes, and then you've deposited your check. And with Chase, if you've deposited the check before 11 o'clock, the funds are available the next day. And it depends, your bank might be a little bit different. For this deposit check chapter, we don't have a demonstration, but we do have a little video, a 1-minute video, which shows how it's done. So let's take a look at that. So that is depositing checks. And we actually have a video of, oh, I apologize. If anybody has any questions on depositing checks. Okay. We also have a video on bill payment. Let's get to the right spot. And, oops, sorry guys. And the last video is of transferring money between accounts. So that is it for the ABCs of online banking. And I hope you've picked up a nugget of information. And Heidi, what I didn't mention to you earlier is I can, for the demonstration to our attendees, if they want to play with it a little bit more, I'm happy to email that to you. And I hope I've inspired you to consider online banking if you haven't already jumped on that bandwagon. So thanks again for having me.
Thank you. I have a quick question. How is this different than auto pay?
So you can set up auto pay from, let's say, a utility company, and you can go onto their website and give their your bank's routing number and account number, and the utility company will then draw the money out of your account every month. So the auto pay for utilities, for example, is done through the utility company, and you would give them a routing number and an account number, and they would pull the money every month for your payment. And this is what we've talked about today is a check that is actually sent from your bank account to the utility company. So it's actually a check that is written from your bank account.
And initiated by you.
That's correct. That is initiated by you.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ifaat. Are there any additional questions? Okay, that concludes our YMCA Education Series presentation for this evening. On behalf of the North Suburban YMCA and our YES series, we thank you for supporting our organization and programs like these. A special thanks to Ifaat for speaking to us today. Programs like this are free and open to everyone in our community. So if you enjoyed today's programming, would like to support the North Suburban YMCA, please consider helping with a donation at www.nsymca.org. We hope to see you at our next speaker series on Tuesday, May 4th at 11 a.m. on the topic of scams. Be alert and be aware. Thank you again. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Ifaat.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.